Name is David Squeeze Anik. Remember to follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, also on Instagram. And ladies and gentlemen, last week was a hell of a week, a roller coaster week with the entire tri-state area. So my big mouth went on air and read something that is evidently out there in black and white about police killings and about, murders and so forth and all of that stuff. And everybody was in one big uproar. As stated initially, I don't have all the answers. I officially don't live in Jamaica. I visit there quite often. Okay. But what better way than to expand or expound on this more than to speak with individuals in the capacity of what it is that we're discussing. We want answers. We may not have all the answers. We may not get all the answers. And I'm just being fully transparent with each and every one out there. But this program is a forum. It's a forum to bring attention to our beloved country, Jamaica, that we love dearly, and we want to do all the right things. We're not circumventing the fact that there's a lot of crime in Jamaica that needs to be reduced immediately, or as aggressively or as assiduously as possible. But ladies and gentlemen, we have to address all different angles. Today, all right, I have none other than, of course, an individual that heads up a division, I would say, down here in Jamaica, the Constabulary Communication Network. His name is Stephen Brown. Are you there, sir?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, welcome to Link Up Radio 93.5 WVIP. First and foremost, and just to be in order, tell the folks who you are and what you represent and what you do in Jamaica, Deputy Superintendent.
Well, I'm the head of the Constabulary Communication Network, which is responsible for communicating internal, making external, and external and internal communication. Okay. So I work as the head. I head that department, and it is the communication department for the police force in Jamaica.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much. Did you have anything to do with the Kingfish operations a few years ago?
I was there many years ago. Some years ago, I was there. Yes.
Yeah. So you were part of that a few years ago, and with all that cleanup process. Every time I think about Kingfish, I think about what Giuliani did here in New York. But I must commend you on that whole Kingfish operation. Okay, working with United Kingdom, working with United States.
United States, yes.
Definitely, great work done. All right, so break down specifically what you do in your capacity as the head of the Constabulary Communication Network. What do you specifically do?
We're responsible for disseminating information to the media about police issues. We're also responsible to respond to things like this that you're talking about, and also to clarify any misconception that people might have about our operations and the things that we do.
Okay, wonderful. I'm very happy that you stated that. Last week, I read off some names, okay, based on a report that came out about the amount of killings by police in the month of October, which was, I thought, in my opinion, pretty high. Would you like, or can you expand on that?
Well, what I do know, there's a press conference held by Indicom, and that's a body, the independent body that investigates police misconduct. And they were comparing the shootings to what happened in September and saying that the figure was, well, whatever they said, the figure was alarming. And, they distributed, I made some comments in the media, which we will not respond to what Indicom, what they have said, because they investigate the police independently and we expect them to carry out their job. Okay. However, I must point out to you, though, that from a policing perspective, we have been making, and we can send all the press releases to anybody who wants them, that we're making appeals to criminal elements, that when you confront the police, when you're confronted by the police, and when they are confronted by the police, you surrender peacefully. We have on record that even yesterday we issued a press release about the amount of weapons we found the last week, and in 90% of the instances, police officers brought in the criminals alive. So if you do not shoot at the police or attempt to shoot at the police, then the police will bring you in. But once they decide to shoot at the police and do all those things, then I don't think the police can guarantee them their safety. Because if you have a firearm in your hand to shoot somebody, then the police have to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm. Right. So are you saying then, or would you say in your own opinion, that the police killings that took place in the month of October is relative to people who decided to have a shootout with the police?
Well, if you don't attack the police, if they don't attack the police, then the police will bring them in alive. And we have asked, I will not fire at them. We have asked and we have begged, we have beseeched them please do not surrender peacefully to the police. Do not threat the police. Please surrender peacefully. Once you attack the police, then just like anything else, if somebody attacks you, then your natural reaction is to react in a particular way. And we know that these guys, ice cream do not come from these guns. They talk about the record number of police shooting or the amount of police shooting in the month of October. October alone, we recovered close to 90 guns. We took close to 90 guns off the streets of Jamaica. We're not in a civil war. And we took close to 90 guns off the streets of Jamaica, the most in any month since we started recording firearms taken from the streets. And we started doing so from 1960 odd. As the most in any one month, 70, 80 odd guns, close to 90, 89 guns taken off the streets of Jamaica. And in most of these instances, we took them away from criminals and brought in criminals alive. I brought in suspects alive. We have a serious challenge to work with. Jamaica is by far the only place in the world, not the only place in the world, where people will kill individuals just because they are police. These are the things that we face. This is the only place in the world where a policeman is likely to come under attack on any street, at any time of the day, anywhere.
Well, just to expand a little, why do you think that is? And that's not a rhetorical question. Why do you think that is?
It's the violent nature of our people. You understand? And it is something that crime fighting, as you have said, it needs more than the police to tackle it. It needs us as individuals to educate our people. The youngsters who sit on the street and believe it's okay to stay on the street, we don't have the role models anymore. The role models we have are the ones who tell the guys, bust a shot in our man head. You understand? The policeman, the policeman number pass speed dial, whoop the Glock in their head before him get a chance to respond. These are the people who the guys find influence, and these are the music that some people play on the air for people to follow. That's where the bad influence coming from, and we can't escape that type of influence.
Stop there for a minute. You know what, Deputy Steve Brown?
Yes,
I was
sir.
speaking with a few of my fellow broadcasters, one by the name of Fata Diamond and Shelly Ann Weeks, we might hear on Nationwide. And they were talking about this topic in reference to violence in the music. And they were both saying that they have no problem with the violence in the music because we have what's called freedom of speech. I actually came on air and jumped in and said, no, I think considering the situation in Jamaica, we should just eliminate it completely. And that is in respect to, of course, what it is your colleague, Mr. Bunting, is trying to put forth with a potential law. You know, and I believe that the music does contribute to the violence in Jamaica. But there's also another side. Poverty does contribute to it also, right?
Well, I won't get involved in politics and music as to what contributes to it. What I do know is that the influential people, when we're growing up, we see the teacher, the police officers, and nurses, and the lawyers and doctors are the people who influence us in the Caribbean or in Jamaica. Unfortunately, we don't see those people anymore. Get up and we hear people talking about all sorts of things, and anybody can tell me, or these broadcasters can point to me or challenge me, you know, that music does not influence our youngsters, then they are not in Jamaica, and they're not reading, they're not thinking. When a particular music came out about Clarks, no Clarks was left in Jamaica. Every Clarks was sold. In England, we stay here and influence the hike, you understand, in the sale of price in England. So people can't tell me that all the schoolboys were walking in Clarks, and there's a music, there was part of the music that gave them instruction how to clean the Clarks, and they walk with their toothbrushes in their pockets, and they went to school. So we know by now, as a matter of fact, music is indelible in our culture. And once people find that type of role model, that is going to happen. Walk with my gun in my hand, walk with my Glock, bust a boy head, gunshot in a boy head. Those are the things that our youngsters live. And that's what they learn.
Right. Once again, folks, if you're just joining us, I'm speaking with, of course, Deputy Superintendent, of course, Steve Brown, right here on Link Up Radio 93.5. We're talking about the killings on both sides in Jamaica, from the side of the police and from the side of the criminals. The deputy has stated, of course, these individuals who are being killed, okay, if they surrender, they will come in alive. But if they don't and they start a barrage of shooting, as we stated last week, and I said, by all means, if a criminal someone decides to fire back at the police, then in my opinion, and this is rash, deal with the case, all right? And the police have to do what they have to do. However, my concern is just the major increase, or the big increase rather, in the month of October for the amount of police killings. But what I'd like to ask you,
Well, I
Deputy,
can explain to you that in October, though.
yeah, the October thing, I'd love to have that explained. Is there a campaign that's going on, that's going after the criminals, that's going after the guns? That I could understand if that's going on.
Squeeze.
Yeah.
Okay, squeeze. What happened in October is that we realized there was a spike in murder between August, late July, coming on to August into September that time.
Uh-huh.
And the criminal elements were after each other and creating, wreaking, not necessarily wreaking havoc, but they were doing things that, would cause a concern.
Mm-hmm.
So we launched an operation that's called Operation Resilience.
Okay.
And from there on, Operation Resilience, and from there on, we decided that we're going to take on the criminals head on. We're going to confront the criminals. We're going to find them where they are. We're going to confront them. Understand? It's against that background, I think, that was in, because the operations increased, and I said to you, that month alone, through Operation Resilience, we're able to recover close to 90 guns from the streets.
Now, that answers the question.
Some people lost their lives when they challenged the police.
Now, that answers the question. And we're not going to say there aren't mishaps on the police side, ladies and gentlemen, but that answers the question as to why there's such a major increase in the month of October. We didn't know about this Operation Resilience. We didn't. I'll be very honest. The majority of the people here in the United States did not know about it. We just see a spike, and we're saying, why is the spike in police killings? But if there's an operation going on against these criminals, then rightfully so there's going to be an increase. So
we're going to confront them. We're going to confront them. Mm-hmm. And people don't understand, These are the same criminals who say go around a pregnant woman with 9 who is 7 months pregnant, shot her 5 times in her belly, in her stomach 5 times, and shot her in her head. These are the same criminals we have to confront. Mm-hmm. And when we go to the rescue of individuals like these, then these guys are going to take us on.
Okay.
Woman going to church with her children, shot in the seat of her car by these criminals. When we go to the rescue of these innocent Jamaicans, these are people going to take us on. People going home at night, attacked by these criminals. When we go to the rescue of these individuals, these are the guys going to take us on. The man in Montego Bay was a benefactor to the citizens down there, provide employment for a number of people. They shot him at point blank range and robbed him. These are the criminals we have to encounter.
All right. Once again, speaking with Deputy, of course, Superintendent Steve Brown. Let me ask you this. Okay, so that answers the question that we had, the specific question that we had for the month of October. But we do know occasionally that there are mishaps with some of your colleagues in the police department. What is your version of internal affairs there, and how are these handled?
We do have an internal affairs, but guess what? The government of Jamaica, they came up and they implemented and brought in, through an act of parliament, the Independent Commission of Investigation, independent, and pay attention to that word, independent, independent of the police. And that group, that is called INDECOM for short. Now, INDECOM, they're the ones who will investigate all police mishaps and all allegations of police misconduct. So they have a responsibility to carry out there. So they are the ones who can tell you the amount of cases they investigate. And the simple, if a policeman falls out of line, then that is the responsibility of INDECOM to investigate the police officers and ensure that, justice is done to the family or the police officers brought to justice or whatever the situation is, and justice is done.
Right. Okay. Now, returning residents have questions about safety in Jamaica and also, of course, the tourism sector. How would you explain
crime against tourists in Jamaica is almost zero. Jamaica is one of the safest places to come on earth. It's unfortunate that some people take up the things and they run with the wrong things and run with all sorts of negative things about Jamaica.
True.
People do not hurt our tourists here. They come to Jamaica and they travel around, they have fun. As a matter of fact, there are some expats who work in Jamaica from other countries here. And you see, you go to football matches in the inner city in Trenchtown, at Arnott Gardens, near the Trenchtown. You go to football matches in Waterhouse, and these are the guys who go and sit in the stands and have fun. But all of a sudden, people believe that our country is the worst country in the world, and people who live abroad don't want to come back here. This is home. This is home. You understand? And it is not worse than anywhere else. Okay. We do have our challenges economically And, sometimes the crime tend to get a bit out of hand or, maybe a bit alarming. But at the same time, we have to arrest the situation and make Jamaica a better place and make Jamaica the place.
Absolutely.
For people to come and have fun.
To top off our little interview, and I'm quite sure we'll speak again in the near future, maybe tomorrow or the following day, what would you like to say to people of the diaspora? I'll let you start.
They play an integral role. Without the diasporic community, then you know that Jamaica is in serious problem. Continue to send the money to your relatives out there. Continue to ensure that the boys go to school, do their CXCs. Continue to ensure that, you do your best to improve your country. Because there's nowhere better than home. When you get your vacation, there's a place you want to come. When you retire, there's a place you want to come. But do not say then bash the place and say it's the worst place in the world because it's where we're from. It's our home. And if you listen to other people speak about their country, they'll talk about their country like us. Mm-hmm. You understand? But as Jamaicans, it is safe for you to come. We do everything to ensure that you're fine. Especially, there was recently, a couple of years ago, the crime against returning residents were a bit a cause of concern. Now people can come back and have fun because we ensure that we protect our citizens. And all of us as Jamaicans, we want to make Jamaica the best place. So whether you're in the diasporic community, or you live here, wherever you are, we're one Jamaicans.
Thank you so much, Deputy, of course, Superintendent Steve Brown. I want to say thank you so much for being in the capacity of Constabulary Communication Network. I am quite sure we will be speaking on an ongoing basis. You got to promise me that. So this way there's more transparency because once again...
Just shout me, man. Just shout me out my number.
Definitely, I'll call you personally, man. And thank you so much, and we'll talk again soon.
All
right, there you go. Now, folks, that definitely answers the increase as to what it is that was happening or has been happening or happened rather in the month of October, an increase of the killings. Operation Resilience. Operation Resilience, the police attacking the criminals head on. And I must commend the brother who called in last week and said, "Squeeze, I think you need to call us there." Much respect to you, my brother. But once again, that's what we need, more transparency. Now, no one is not saying that them not going with some things, where they're going with it.